We ended up going, we were in the 30s. We weren't much better than that with personnel. Naval Academy, they were in the top 100 and everything in categories. We were in the top 20 first year. Now, we've also played Villanova, which no pun intended, you know, we didn't play, we played Notre Dame, was probably the best we played. We played Duke and some of those guys. New Mexico hadn't been 36, went to 2.
What was the Notre Dame score?
They ended up, it was 17-14 with 8 minutes and ended up 31 to 24.
I remember something at the end, talking to either you or both, you had a switch on and somebody didn't switch. Or...
Well, what happened was the linebacker couldn't get to the fullback screen.
What was the Villanova score?
I think they got 7. I think we beat them either 17 or 24 to 7.
They're usually pretty good.
The team that we played best against in that group, we played Delaware that year. Navy hadn't beaten Delaware in 5 years, and we held them to 57-yard rushing, and beat them like 31 to 7. I think was the final score.
Hey, do y'all exchange information much, like Virginia Tech or?
Yeah, well, a little bit Virginia Tech.
Anybody else that guy you go off with?
I mean, if people want to come into our house, I mean, basically his policy's been open door.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to come learn it now, most people, when you look at it, because like we've had the whole MIAA, Pittsburgh State, Emporia State, Central Missouri, Willie Fritz, Northwest Missouri, Northeast Missouri, Missouri Southern, every one of them's come in because Pittsburgh State runs Robert, and now Emporia State's doing everything we're doing with Jerry Keel. But most of the rest of those guys are 4-3 teams, and they're, you know, it's just, unless you can imagine it, it was like with Bump. It took him a month for me just to call Tide Eagle instead of instead of Strong Eagle. I mean, some things you have in your mind, you know, that's just the way it is in your mind. And it's not as wrong or right, but that's just the way it is in your mind. These 4-3 guys, they come out and watch us practice like, I never knew what coverage you were in one time while I was out there. Because, you know, so many people are so set. You say, they've always used to say it, if you're in squats and halves, you're in squats and halves across the board. If you're in quarters, you're in quarters across the board. Or you might be quarters and squat, but they can't, for them to think, I'm in zone over here and we're playing a man call on the backside because it's solo, they're like, no, I can't do all this. So I'm never worried about too many people doing everything we do, because most of the people think we're just crazy. Except people that understand it. And once you get into it a little bit, then it's actually a lot simpler. The biggest thing we've had is now, I've taught it to 5 universities in however years, is we've refined it and having moved now with the same staff. That was nice when we went to Navy because we took the same group and everybody knew the ins and outs and you could teach it. Went to New Mexico, it was harder for me because I went by myself. And those guys have been a quarter half team. And they're like, zone boys, and they're like, this guy's. I mean, I didn't have to work on the players as much as I had to work on the coaches because they hadn't been worth a shit on defense. So it was more the coaches because it was young David and Mark and those guys had been all young. They only knew one deal. Now when we went to TCU, that was an easy one because we brought everybody. And then it was from day one, you didn't have to, everybody was on the same page. And that's probably been the easiest transition for us. And the other smartest move we had is this kid Curtis Fuller, that's our free safety. We had committed in New Mexico, and he's from Fort Worth. And he asked if we changed. He changed. And he had been a corner at Tyler Junior College, and then we moved him to free safety that first spring. And he's really he knows what everybody does up there. Now, not all of my guys do, but he's one of those special guys that he can tell linebackers, safeties, and the water boy if he screwed up or not.
Your GA is finished with you guys? Your defensive GA?
He's finished with us? No, but I mean.
Well, he has another year with you?
Yeah, he has one more year. But about every one of them shoot 9.
An older guy, 28 years old or something?
Yeah, about usually.
What's his name?
Rick LaFavors. He played at TCU.
Who's Marcus? Black guy.
On ours?
Yeah.
There's a Jason Medlock.
Yeah. What's his name?
Well, he helps in the marking. The way we have we have video GAs that help break down things, but they don't go out on the field. Mm-hmm. And that's it's kind of what Texas A&M and some of them do. So we train them, and they never go on the field. So once our GAs leave, they already know how to do all our breakdowns, how to coach what we do, and we just move them up slow. He doesn't know much about us coverage-wise. He's most of a front guy. But he played, he was a linebacker in college, played at A&M, played at
But
UNLV.
that's who your GA works with anyway, the front.
Yeah, yeah, that's where Rick LaFavors does.
So and this guy's a front guy, this minority guy.
Yep. But you know LaFavors, he played last year, you were at Texas. He's a walk-on safety, white kid. That was a kid you met.
Where else do we need to go with dogs, Gary?
Well, again, the common sense dogs rule, and this is something, again, it just built in because when you're in one back, we're not going to let the linebacker walk out. He's always going to have the one back. Because I call short dogs. Okay? And they come out and trips over. Well, you told the free safety that he's reading where the dog side is, but trips is always a common sense breaker. Not a breaker, but is always going to make you think because free safety is not going to read and have the remaining back. So if you had short dogs and you're bringing dogs off the back end, we're always going to give the linebacker. So what's going to happen is he's going to come to the front side of it. This guy was a doubles back here, the free safety go backward. He's here. So it ends up looking like you're going to line up like you're a roll or whatever you are, and that's how it's going to handle it. And I use the old Houston way of, basically, it doesn't matter how you want to start the count, as long as everybody listens to him, you're all going to be right. The Houston, whether you used to play Houston, where I got that cat, I got that cat, I got that cat, when they used to play. And that's really what we do. And again, our whole thing is to make sure you can get lined up, and we have things that you're going to look like zone, and this will look like roll, or special, or blue, or whatever with the solo call. And this guy moves up late. Now, because you got to be able to handle it, this is the only thing that ever gets us into a switch call, and this is the only rule. The remaining linebacker, whoever it is, will always go look to the dog side to switch. So if they come out and empty, and it was short dogs, he doesn't have anybody because short dogs told him they would go. He's the guy that's going to come over. So we do it now because you've gone long enough, they just bump it. Yeah. He goes switch, make a fire just like he does. If it was a double smoke, he runs it, and this guy runs the gap. You end up with the dogs with your linebackers. So if I knew you were in 5 wide receivers, and this is what I told you, what we're going to start doing, we're going to start calling calls with bullets to create dogs. Not just the bullet show call, but we're going to start creating one-back dog calls with our linebackers.
That's really like you go right there.
That's it, yeah.
Now here's so that you know this is how Virginia Tech is. Because he's always going to leave the guy in the middle of the field. Pro never makes any difference. But they will never run corners over. If you call dogs from the wide side of the field and you gave him a single with a wide set, automatically the linebacker are going to bump and they're going to make a switch. They're going to run it, and the safety's going to cover because they're going to keep the free safety in the middle and cover that guy. Because the weak safety, the way they run their 4-2 alignment, it's more like a 4-3. This backside safety is going to stack. They're going to look like a 4-3. He has him. He has one of them. He has one of them. They're never going to walk anybody. He's never going to put where you're going to keep him. That's the thing that he has different is now I don't have you outnumbered in my dog's blitz if I want to stop the run. I got you outnumbered if I keep bringing this guy and bring this guy and be gap control. And really in the Big East, who they play besides Miami, that stuff holds up. He would not like that in the WAC with empty, and some of the things people get to, or at least when we played the San Diego States and the Utahs and all those, because sometimes you're not going to get enough people to party to get there. You better, at least for our benefit, I want to get one more always.
Coverages to go with dogs.
0. Now, we're going to get into, just like bullets, we're going to get in, here I'll show you 2-back. I'll show you how, just a basic one from the field, basic one from the boundary.
You had one called against Hawaii, too,
Yeah.
out of his own.
Yeah, there's 2 blue, and it
Okay,
doesn't
so,
come.
so you, my answer to my question, you said 0, but now you're gonna say you can do it with something else?
Well, we're gonna play, if you want to, just like he asked me the question, the next one is, can you do it with zone? So I'm just jumping to the next, but 99% of the time, we're gonna run it with man, 0.
Gotcha.
Now, just like, dude, any one of those calls of wide dogs on that deal. But probably we do it with an Army call, because I want to get the end outside. Let's go field G Army, wide dogs B. So the call is Liz, because here's the field. So there's the 3 technique, and we're running Army. So that's all the front has to know.
Right.
Okay? Wide dogs B, we're telling the linebacker to run through as soon as we hear wide dogs understood smoke. Okay? Now, with so we come out the wide
Doesn't
side.
have to make a fire call, but he probably would.
He
right?
will always do it, whether he has to or not, because we might change this to a lion.
Gotcha.
It may be wide dogs on there, and I may tell the safety, wide dogs number 3, lion. So he'll tell the end, I want to do a lion instead of smoke. Again, no one else knows this except the communication between the safety. So even if the safety screws it up and doesn't run a lion, he says fire. Then we're running a smoke. So whoop-de-doo. So now, instead of playing man, I call 3 strong. Now cover 3 by itself, as obviously you know, the free safety be in the middle. If we didn't have a blitz on, be just like you look. So what 3 strong tells us, we're going to run. I run wide 3 strong. So I'm going to ride. We're going to roll, and I'm going to give them a wide 3 strong drop call. Drop always talks to the weak safety. He's going to tell the end to drop, and now you're in zone fire. Didn't teach anything blitz-wise new up front. All I did with the coverage is we rolled.
How much of that do you run?
2%.
Because
And only because you're getting where you're max protecting everybody running 2-man rounds. If you try to get more than 2 out, then I'm gonna stay with what I have because I can outnumber you. If you're trying to keep all these guys in and everybody sliding and max protecting everybody, then that's stupid of me to stay in 2-on-2. Then I'm gonna get into stuff like this, and we're gonna bring forward from the side, and then we're eventually gonna get there and we're gonna play zone. But if you're trying to come out and hot me, you know, A&M is a lot of zone fire stuff. And the people, go ahead.
I was just going to say with your backside linebacker, these
C3.
He'll always find he'll always find the wall. For us, it's always the hot. You guys are more of that stuff than us. But for us, no more than what we do because we don't do it. We always tell them to find the hot within the box, which means that there's a tight end. So we end up with 3 underneath, 3 deep.
You usually just do that from the field, Gary?
No. In fact, probably the one that we do the most because it can stay within our package and we can do it anytime is short dogs. And especially against 2 backs. Build anyone you want to build with it. We'll just say
Type G, Toro Blast, short dogs B.
Okay. Let's make it field G, okay? Because we got to make sure that we're going to field.
Okay.
I mean, that would be with a man call. But let's just say the same thing you had.
Oh, I
Field
got
G,
you, yeah.
Field G, Toro Blast, short dogs B, right?
Yeah.
So we got field G, so it's a Liz call. Toro, we line up in a G, we're slant, blast, talk to the end, call side end to line up in a blast. Short dogs B. Now, we will always have, is number 4 still a Mike Spy? Is there a Mike Spy on that one?
Yes.
Okay. When we would run a zone fire scheme, we would always put a Mike, whatever that linebacker's going to be running through, put a spy call onto him because we know we're going to be, so the coverage call here is going to be 2 blue solo. Well, obviously, solo, if you got both of them going, somebody's got to cover the back to that side.
Oh, yeah.
So, 2 reading left, 2 reading left. The weak safety walks up, says fire, and says solo to the corner. So we're going to put him in man. We're playing Robert of the field. Obviously, you could play 3 if you wanted to.
With the Sam's on spy on the back week.
Huh?
Sam's on spy on the back week.
No.
No.
He has, again, we have spy with the safety, and the guy runs inside. That's what the spy calls for, is for the linebacker to tell him when he's run through his gap.
Smash that guy if he shows.
Hits him, if he shows him, mostly, especially like people get into this.
Uh-huh.
I mean, we could put a trips call, so I could put special out here. So we got short dogs, 2 blues, special, solo. They come out trips, we check special, we play solo. So didn't teach anything new because we're going to play special trips anyway. Week safety says fire and solo.
What's the technique of that end right
Yeah,
there?
talk to us about your favorite.
Fire, and it's in, this is the thing commonly asked. There's not a good answer. Because if the guy fans, you end up with two guys in the gaps on a split inside. Now what we're coming up with this spring is we're going to start doing some of this because of draw and other things. We're going to bring him, and we're bringing him behind. We're going to double gap it. If he gets a run, he will play hard runs. So if they run speed option, if he gets it. But if he gets a fan call instead of here because he knows it's running through, because we're going to give him a, we call this M-text, an M-text, meaning we go M to slash, means he's going to do with the linebacker. Text tells him the tackle's going first and he's coming around.
Yeah.
So here it goes, slash, and he's looping.
Or could you do the same thing with the tight end side too?
Yes, sir. As long as you don't have a cop. Where the end's is in a man situation. You can build any of this any way you want to. For two-back, now see, like for us, if you're a big tight end two-back, instead of being a TG, I might do it with a tight Toro and wrap the guy. And then we might even, a call like that might be field, blast, field, Toro, take, blast, short dog's A. Since we got a Toro,
Now you can go in the A.
go in the A because it didn't give him a G call, short dog's A, I'm running through the A gap. That's a real,
Like that.
that'll get after ISO really fast.
Yeah.
Because with your blast, is that end playing outside the D gap?
Yeah, well, yeah, he is. We've
Yeah.
pointed it. When we do this, people don't run out, you know, you're not usually an outside zone team.
Until you cross that nose across the center, he's got double exposure on the Sam.
Correct.
Now you said Toro take, okay. You're building in the, you're telling the end to come under, but really, you do that with dogs? You tell the ends to come
Yeah,
under?
will, can.
You can build it into their call?
Yeah, because here's a call for you right here, and this is what everybody, all the zone fire this year, for a lot of people, and you guys I know do it, I haven't seen your film. We call it wide dog C, which we're telling, so I'm going to do it with a boundary call.
Now you're doing the long.
Bring that 5 technique down.
So I got a boundary Toro take, wide dog C. So we got a boundary, so it's a rip call, Toro, and let's just put it with a tank take, because I'm going to protect against the option. I'm going to get a quarterback player. Okay? Wide dog C. Take. C tells the linebacker to the wide side, we're coming off of the smoke. If action shows, we're wrapping. Which now that's really good against slide protection.
He's reading it?
Can if they're that kind of person, that linebacker's the one that's got to back up and save you. But if you can read it, but most of the time when we first started teaching it, we didn't.
Just so you send it.
Now A&M, which does this a lot, which is a base call for them, that is a base call for them. That guy reads it all. That guy reads it all the time. That's like our twist and back to base rule. It's a lot smarter to get that guy to play football and read it. We didn't ever, when we first began, did much of that. And the more we're doing it, the more we got into where we read that guy. So action starts the way he starts and then
Yeah.
comes back, knowing where his gap is. I mean, if you want to, you can bring both of those sides. Here's one for you. S-dogs. Call's going to be tight, Toro, take, S-dogs, mow. So what I tell them, tight, Toro, take,
Oh, yeah, now they're both outside.
tight, Toro, take, S-dogs, mow. Coming from the split end side, told the linebacker just like the bullets to walk up in a mow, and you got 2 off an edge.
Here's a question for you. Why do you add in the ends call when you don't do it in smoke? You just
Well, I could in a smoke.
You
I
could.
could call tight, Toro, take, double smoke. I just didn't
You just
in the
let-
calls that we talked about.
You just let,
Like when it's
no,
supposed
but
to pass.
in smoke, don't you just let the safeties tell the ends to go fire?
Fire if I don't tell him to do anything else.
So you don't really have to say take.
Yeah, I do, because when he runs a take, he's now going to go in the B gap. When I give an end of fire call, and if this guy doesn't fan,
Coming off the end.
he's a C gap guy. So I mean, if the guy blocks and he stays here, but take, he takes the B gap.
He's gonna be, yeah.
There's a difference in it. I mean, but you can build any of these you want to. I mean, let's say you want to make a pass blitz with the dogs. You got S dogs. You're going to come off the split inside, and you want to break protection to something else. Let's just say you did, so I'm going to call it split G. I'll tell you, and you want to get a wraparound guy, let's go tight G, X, S dogs, A. X is the 50 side, end going first, tackle, now he's looping, let's say you want to run it with a stinger call, so you want to bring the guy down tight, you got the tackle looping like you guys on the general do.
Yeah.
Okay? S dogs A, so now the linebacker's running through here. I mean, it's, you name it, you think of it, all you got to do is write a sentence, and you can do it. And that's why I say, I can have 12 hamburgers go into a ball game because all they're going to do is what already built into their call in the first place. It's not so much hamburgers bad, because that works. What I'm saying is, but I can buy a dozen of them. Because I can have 15 dogs, and I can have 10 bullets, and I can have 10 smokes. Do I run all of them in a ball game? Are they all a different call? No, most of them stays the same unless we break protection or something we want. As the cards got, as the watches got bigger, most of that we already know what we do it for, so they stay on the watch because it handles a certain thing.
Then you go back to it.
Then we go back and we may not use it till game 7, but it stays on the watch because you never know when they come out, especially in the WAC. You may be a 2-back team all for 6 weeks, and all of a sudden they're an empty team. That's why we always keep 2 or 3 cops on the deal. Now we play Rice, we're taking cops off the watch. We'll give them less to look at as possible. But all of you been there where you stood on the sidelines and said, I wish I had that call. Okay? Well, what I do is we just built the candy store and put it on your wrist. We're going to keep the candy store. And I've been where we went in there and taken a marker and we wanted to change some part of one call and wrote it in, taking their watch out of the wristband and wrote it in on a call. And talked about it and did it. Because all they're doing is, the defensive line is just listening to what you told them. Army, tank, aim, Toro, Tex, X, Mex, you name it. They're just doing what they do on a general basis as a front guy anyway. Again, the secondary and the front don't have anything to do unless I want to tie it together. I'm going to control that. As a defense, if we want to tie it together, then we do that. If I don't want to tie it together, then I don't.
What would be an example of you tying it together?
Field G Army wide smoke.
No,
I want to slam one way, we'll bring one guy off the edge.
Line away and bring the guy at the same time.
Here's another one, bullets. Double X, bullets A. I'm going to slam both ends in the B gap. I'm looping both tackles, and I'm running linebackers through the A gaps. Because you know, some people, they get so, it's really kind of amazing. You can run just tight G bullets A, and our linemen will pick up the guys. But all of a sudden, they start looking for twists, and you twist those guys, and all of a sudden, their eyes go everywhere, and all of a sudden, these linebackers run scot-ass free. But I mean, you can do that any way you want to.
One of the things that we've done, Gary, and has had some success, I don't know if you guys do it. For example, we have, where you have a Thunder and a Lightning.
Yes, sir.
Okay, or maybe you have a T and an S dog. We have combined those two into what we would say a tilt. So, for example, we're not sure what they're coming out in, or we do it off of backfield sets a lot. And, you know, if the back's slid one way, or we want to come the side east too. Do you do anything like that?
Yeah, we call it frog dogs. That's just a built-in call by game week.
I see it on here.
Yeah, frog dogs means, so if you give us something that tells it, like, again, going back to playing TCU or USC, when they get an offset backs, that's where they're coming. So what we call frog dogs, it's going to be built in Ty G10 frog dogs B. We're going to bring the dogs off of wherever your back set was.
So how would that communication go?
Yeah, how do you do that?
Safety, well, the front doesn't care.
Right.
So basically, it's just between the linebackers. We just mostly tell them we start on Tuesday and whatever the back set is, when we call
Okay.
frog dogs.
So they break the huddle, the free safety now. Say, just give me a 10 set up there. No, give me 11.
Okay.
Let's say they're getting the tight end out, sliding that way, and they got, you know, they're going to step the back to to the, you would just call split dog.
Well, we told them, because we don't know where this, well, because seeing one back doesn't matter, because I always know in one back you can use a split and a tight call to do it versus one back. For us, more of the dogs is going to come from if you're in a two-back set and they're going to have a back set one way or the other. You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, that's,
Because of us, if we know they're going to get a tight end out, they're going to split it, then I'm going to set the front call a certain way, and I'm going to bring it off the split inside of the
okay,
or the
let's
tight
say
end
they're going
side.
to do this.
Okay?
They're going to take that back. Give me a shotgun. Okay? And if that back is over to the tight end side, they're releasing that tight end.
This is good.
They're double reading.
Yeah.
If he's on the other side, now they're going to go ahead and, yeah. So
Well, it's the same way we call it Cobra stuff, and let's go ahead and put it in 10.
okay, I was going
Okay.
to say 10 originally. but
Yeah, no, it's good, because that's the same thing we do our offense.
Okay.
If they give us a shotgun offset, then, and we know that's the man side, then that's, like we call it frog dogs, that's where we come from.
Okay, so you break the huddle,
Tai Chi Tim,
take G10,
frog dogs.
frog dogs.
We told them one back set, we're always gonna come from where the offset back is.
Okay?
Come out here, read and right, the linebacker,
So
this
the
guy.
reading right is what tells them that's the side we're running the dog from?
And these really, the linebackers say, we're just talking, well, the back's here, here's where we're coming from.
Okay.
And we've got it to where they've even shifted that guy, and went read and left, and pre-safety's got him, and we're not coming from the other side. Now, the thing is, when we do that, though, we always have a front call that's gonna be generic
Yeah,
enough,
something
just like the
basic.
bullets show that you don't have to. Now,
It's
you
like
could,
when we run 50, it's something basic, right?
yeah, but you could still build that in,
Tim, yeah.
yeah, and still run guys, if you wanted to have, and run the guy through.
Now your end someone is gonna give him a fire call, right?
Well, yeah, but I'm saying, instead of running a Tim call where you're gonna be double
Yeah.
twos, if you wanna run a twist,
Yeah.
now let's just say you wanted your linebacker to run through the A gap, so if you did that, then you could have a double X call. But you're gonna have to be balanced on both sides, or you're gonna really have to do a lot of teaching, like you guys, like you just said, or you got a lot of teaching by the formation
So
center.
you just need to stay balanced.
Yeah, for us, that's what we would do most of the time in it.
Yeah, and who would, one of the ends has to get a fire call, right?
Yes, he would. Whichever side they were gonna come, in this
They're
case,
reading
fire,
left.
fire, fire.
Yeah.
The reading left tells everybody that's the side. I guess what I'm saying is,
We coach,
you guys have been told when you say frog, whatever side the back is, so that strong safety there knows he's the guy that's coming now, he makes the fire call. No one ever says, hey, we're coming from the
yeah,
left.
well, yeah, no. But I say it as simple as, I told him when we run T-dogs, we're gonna come off the tight end side.
Mhm.
When we say frog dogs, it's something more specific than what we already do. It's just as specific as what we do when we do split T, S, wide and short.
It's gonna mean
If we
something.
say frog dogs, now we're telling them we're gonna come from an offset back. That's just like saying, well, we're gonna come T-dogs and come from the tight end side. So the linebackers and the safeties all know, well, there's the offset back. That's just like if you put a tight end over there in T-dogs, we're all knowing we're coming from that side with the blitz, and the free safety's reading that way, obviously, anyway.
What you were telling me earlier, that I'm just, now the light's coming on, is I'm thinking to myself, balance. In other words, you're not gonna have a 3 technique to one side. Because then you got a problem unless you're bringing that 3 technique under.
Unless you want to do like the bullet slide, where you're going to make one guy have to learn, you know.
You could say tight, field, bench, split, tag,
Yeah,
and then run it, right?
yeah, you
But
can,
gotta
as long as you
clear
got
that
both guys
3
in the
out.
A gaps.
Right, there you go. I'm
Or a
with you.
twist, like I drew up right there.
Exactly. Okay, I'm with you.
Yep.
Okay. Good.
But our T is, our deal is frog dogs, like yours is tilt. Most of the time, though, we don't do that much to a 2-back, to a 1-back. It's more of a 2-back thing, but it's obviously.
And you're doing
we
it
have done it
for run?
Yeah, well, we're doing for run and sometimes protections.
Well, you know,
Like, for our guys, like, we set Cobra. And that's why this is easy for us. When we call Cobra, our defensive line never listens to our linebackers. Because they're gonna set where they want the twist. So against our offense, we know wherever the back puts, this is the half slide and this is the man side. So when we call Cobra Tex or Cobra X, that's gonna happen right here. The 2-on-2 is gonna happen here. We're not gonna, and we set that always off with that, where that guy is.
Is that like old blue, Jim? Is that
yeah.
what he's talking about?
Yeah, it's like when we call our games, you know, where
From
Bettis would call the games based
Yeah.
on whatever you wanted them to,
Which is all-
whatever you wanted them to call.
And that's basically what we do. Usually we have one guy that's on the field that we put in charge of getting that lined up. Now, we teach all of our D-line all that stuff because we run Tex and X for run stoppers. But when we really want to get going, usually we're going to bring a group in the game that can go. Now, if I told you bullets thunder, who's coming?
We've got tight inside safety and 2 inside backers.
So you got a 7-man. To have a 7-man versus 1 back, what do you got to have? You're going to have a cop. Because you only have 4 coverage guys, you're bringing 7, so you got to have a cop. Then that's more of 11 personnel, 12 personnel call. Mob. Mob for us is like you call hamburger. Mob is a deal of we're now having bullets. Now I go Mob B. Still going to be tight. You look underneath 3 and 4. Tight G Mob A, tight G Mob B, under cop category.
Oh, yeah.
Mob's understood smokes, and we're always going to tell the inside guys where to run through. So tight G Mob B, both linebackers are running through B gaps, and we've got both safeties with a cop call. Again, only a one back defense usually.
Can you put a spy on there?
It's put a spy on because
Both linebackers?
well, all 4, the linebackers and the safeties got a 4-way spy, and the remaining backers, there's
Yeah,
nobody
nobody
for
picking
them.
them up. Yeah.
Now, here's the other kicker. If he motions to empty, the inside linebacker will cover him. Because we've had more problems with losing leverage and the guy running away from the blitz than we've ever had draw or anything else. So if we're in mob and we got that spy call, he motions, the linebacker's going to go, and you know for sure we got one more than what you got.
Oh, yeah.
So we give up, we'd rather say linebacker cover the back and keep the smokes off the edge. And safety, we don't usually ever switch a motion. Meaning, where you know how if they line up in doubles, the linebacker will walk out and say switch to a safety, and then run the blitz. If they line up in it, we'll do it. But too many bad things can happen when people start motioning. Now, we might bump something because we're both in coverage. But if that guy's blitzing, and that guy comes out here and tries to come out here and bump the safety to go do it and then run the smoke, we won't do that very often.
Okay.
And it's probably just because we don't work on it.
Well, you said,
Jim, for example, us going through this spring, we probably should stay pretty generic with what we're doing, right? We're not going to get into a whole lot of this stuff, I mean, because we don't really quite understand it all. I mean, we got to spend a whole lot of time. We got good minds in here and we can sort through it. But I mean, like this spring, a lot of what we're going to be calling will be like field G, 2 blue, solo. You know, and then we might run field, we'll call it big smoke or something like that because we don't want to use the word wide, meaning 2 things. But we'll say, you know, field, big smoke.
As long as you use big for when you're going to put your blitzes in. So you use big dogs. Because that's one of the carryover things you got to have
Right.
that really helps us is that you,
I think I wrote it down like that anyway. Okay, 0, okay, or, you know, et cetera, et cetera. And then, but, you know, I mean, I can already see the possibilities, as I'm sure you guys can too, which we're a possibility staff, believe me. I mean, ridiculously sometimes. The next question I had down here is, your call here in blitz on 3rd and long against Southern Cal was frog dog 0 bail. So you weren't running it with 3 strong?
no, must have been playing it with man and playing 0 with it.
Okay, so what that comes down to is like when we ran fire man or fire zone. Okay, good.
Great minds think alike.
you say bullets thunder, had to have a cop call. Why?
Because you're bringing 7 and you only have 4 coverage guys, 5.
Okay.
Unless you want to spy it and silver it.
Yeah.
And if you didn't get it back out, I might do that.
See, that's what we would be more inclined to do.
But if you're somebody that might throw a back screen or get it back into the pattern thing, then I'm not going to be. It's just like why, if you're in 4 wide out, sometimes I run bullets and call 0 free. So their offense early never gets the back out. They're always reading the linebackers running through, so I don't cover them. And they get pissed off. Well, who's going to cover the back? Nobody is right now. Well, what happens if we throw it to him? We'll throw it to him. Because if you throw it to him, then I'm going to start covering him. But if you don't, then if you're going to keep him in protection, you got 5 of the Bronx, I'm bringing 6, and you're going to throw it to him, then I'll start covering him. Now you're going to throw fast.
Like we spy our ends a lot.
And we do too,
So-
but more for me is for when he covers is the leak through the middle. Yeah,
leak through. Well, or the screen.
yeah.
Like this has been one of our favorites, which is nothing more than bullets to you. but out of a 10 personnel set, we put these guys both up here in the A gaps. So if you're an outlaw,
Right.
okay? We run a twist with these two based on the position of the back. So if the back's over here, he's gonna be one, he's gonna be two, he'll go away. He'll go away from the back,
Yep.
force him in here. We got hard here, now both these guys are gonna spy. So if he's flare, they got him. If he's inside at all, they're gonna fold and turn it into a twist.
That's cool.
So I mean, they're basically gonna read off, they're gonna read off the back. So if he comes down inside and then peels out, you know, they're gonna come back in, they're gonna come back in.
Now, for me, all I'd have to do is add another word to tell us safety to do that. I mean, an end.
Yeah.
Like, we tell it to stay, we tell it to different things.
It'd be something else.
Yeah, no, that's a great idea.
We've had success with that.
Where is that?
In fact, we lined them up, I mean, you know, initially we started like this. I mean, we put one on the nose and one back here, you know. Now we could run them away. Now we put them both up there and we put one here and one away from the back. Now we twist them.
That's a 10. Get 9, you give 10, that's a 10.
We call that bullets AO, when the linebackers cross.
Yeah.
So I mean, they're going opposite, A opposite.
The opposite.
Why don't you take us through mob, Gary, and then I'll get some sandwiches brought in here for us. We can take people over.
Well, mob's 2 seconds. Mob for us is just like, again, it's just like, mob is a key word like bullets, thunder, or anything. Instead of saying bullets and double smoke in the call, mob means bullets and double smoke. It's the only one that we do it like that. Just like understood dogs is an understood smoke.
Yeah.
Okay?
Now,
So
who are you doing, what personnel sets you doing this?
I do it against 12 and 11.
12 and 11.
Unless we bring in a nickel people and we get into like our 50 look, where we can, it means bring the linebackers and the safeties, and we brought in, you know, extra people to do it, and I can show you how we do that too, which is the same, way you guys do it. Ty G, Mob B. 0 cop, spy. Weak safety lined up, strong safety one here, smoke, fire. Mob B, tell the linebackers to run through where? B gaps, fire call. Free safety. Well, no, you could if you wanted. If like I was telling him, if your tackles couldn't figure things out, you do it the way you would in every call. If you want to slam them inside, you go tight G Tim, or you could go tag nose.
But the B tells him he should be going inside.
Yeah, we do it unless we just get knuckleheads, and then if we do, then we'll do it like we do. We're just going to spell the sentence out for everybody. Free safety handles the one back reading right. Cop left, reading right, I got 87.
This was exactly what we put in for the playoff.
Now, again,
Never called it, but it was timing.
but here you go. Tight G, take, mob, mo.
Oh, okay.
So now we're
Two off the
take.
edge, yeah.
Now what did we create? We created a double eagle with 2 guys coming off the edge.
Now, Gary, in all of this stuff, like with that free safety, will he be showing, he'll probably be showing your cover 2 over there, right?
Much as he can, and this guy here will try to
Show
show
blue
4 or
or-
5 back here as long as he can and move up.
That's like the one we were watching when you came in this morning, where that guy didn't get up there fast enough.
In fact,
I got you on the first one.
Yeah, in fact, I scared me to death the other day in the scrimmage because the guys are starting weak safety now. We're in cover 5. And cover 5 is the one I tell them you can't show as long because you're the hat player. His hat,
Show
because,
blue.
well, our quarterbacks, we don't notice another new. See if you like this or not. You know, we've always said don't move and start moving once the guy puts his hands underneath the center, but it's really not true. It's when he puts his hands underneath the center and he gets down. Okay? So now what we're doing, the quarterback put his hands underneath, and we got a 6'2" quarterback, so he comes up and puts his hand right here and he's looking around. Guy hadn't moved yet, he's still in a sky look. he's still showing blitz. I'm like, I started to yell from the sideline, get your ass back. So pretty soon the guy starts to go down, he starts backing himself right out to a 5 look. I mean, he just scared me to death over there.
Coach, if back runs out to the open twin side, that inside back row taking.
Flare,
No, motion's out.
motions,
You got
back to
your
the asshole.
spies.
He's got him, huh?
Mob, we
You
listen
got
again, just what we just talked about.
Yeah.
Sets up inside on pass block, guy running through has him. Obviously, again, if you, the way you have it built in, you can actually build it in when you're in, away from the cop and do it. And we've even done it where I've even said, mob, and you know, let's just say they know we got a cop over there that you couldn't call lion. I could actually call a lion and get a lion call on the split inside and keep a smoke over there. Because if I wanted to, I'd go this. I go mob, and this is probably as long a call as I'd ever do with something. I'd go thunder, and then I'd go lightning, lion. I wanted to split inside and run a lion part of it. That's a long. That's
Oh,
if
you'd have to tell.
if we're like running a double smoke, and I wanted a thunder. I wanted from the thunder tight inside. I wanted a smoke, and I wanted a lion from over there. And all I told the front was tight G.
How often do you run something like this?
Very rare. As hardly ever as you can match all that up. Usually you're just going to do it from one side or the other. I just call it from either be a lightning or from the tight end
No,
side.
I don't mean the lion part.
Mob?
Yeah.
Mob, well, against Kansas State, the year we beat them at Utah State, we probably called it 15 times. Because we all lined up there, and either we were showing all this and backed out of it or came.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, almost like, why not? You're at 0 anyway, so.
Well, the quarterback couldn't read anything. They were having to call the play down from the press box to the sideline and then try to check from the press box for the quarterback because he couldn't see it.
Did you get your breakdown thing?
Yeah, it's right over here, Coach. I just moved over. Would you like it?
All right, let me ask you a question, Gary, and just see if you can put this into your vernacular. And Jim, I think that the value of it comes from the 5 and the 9, so you certainly we could get them to say power or something like
Right,
that.
right.
You know I'm getting ready to ask, don't you?
How do you get the split Bronco?
Uh-huh. Stroke.
Oh, stroke.
Yeah. You
He
put it-
couldn't get a 5 in that. Well, yeah, yes he could. I guess you'd be, split G power.
we-
That's different. I don't think that's a different animal. So.
Tell you how we would get to that.
Hold on a second.
We would call field shade, which puts us in a 50.
Field shade.
Or if you want the guy to get to a 5, because now that guy coming there is the end, and the guy on the tackle is our tackle, our 3 technique.
We'd be wanting to, it's like a field smoke.
Yep.
Okay? but
Used to run it all the time.
But we're taking the backside weak safety now, and we'd be wanting to come over and play a front side half.
What you've done is you've rolled, for us, we've already lined up that way.
Yeah,
We've already lined up, we've already got a guy here, already had a guy here, and that knows the weak safety's already there. We just kept, this is our end, this is our tackle. Call something to put you in this front for us. Field base would put us in 2-5 techniques with the tackle in the backside end, and the end here would play a 6 or a 9, whatever you want.
So the strong safety be coming and the free safety.
That's
would
still
be-
the free safety.
Okay. Would that get the same effect?
Yeah, it'd be close to it. Yeah.
Okay. Nothing.
There's 100 ways.
Huh?
100 ways to draw those oranges and apples up anyway. 50 gives you about as much flexibility as anything does. I think. What you guys do. Because you had an extra coverage guy.
for a sandwich? You guys wanna, you wanna go over there and eat it over there, or you want me to?
You can go there. It's easier probably to go there, isn't it?
Okay, put that on pause there. I think this is my old Nebraska drill that I got from Nebraska when I went up there and visited them.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome, sir. Okay, I got a quarterback.
I usually start with one bag. You got tight end, you know, guy holding the bag there.
It's a bag.
Guy, you know, somebody holding the bag.
Okay, like a dummy or, I mean, a shield? or-
Shield.
Okay. All right.
Okay, first thing I'm gonna teach is because there's seven, I'm gonna teach you how to robber coverage.
Okay.
So I'm gonna teach toss and boot.
Okay.
So I'm gonna teach four. So I'm gonna, if I'm standing, here's the coach standing back here. Right here I'm standing. So I go usually 2 reps and then rotate. So I'm standing back here. I'm telling the quarterback, toss, I'm telling him to take a knee. So I see this guy read through the end guy in the line of scrimmage to the quarterback. And then this guy back here, I'm gonna tell him to cut off. That's why we have the bags. So they'll rip.
Okay.
So he's gonna take a knee, he's gonna toss it. I'm gonna see this guy come on 45.
That you went to go get something to eat.
He went on the 45. He's running a banana. I'm seeing this guy be slow and then rip across the guy's face back on the backside. Everything you teach within a net.
And this guy out here, he's 3x7.
3x7. He sees toss. He's coming.
What's
He's
the other cat?
Here he's on the guard. 8 to 10.
No.
Oh, 3x7. Because just in cover 2. That's their normal alignments versus a tight end.
Okay.
Pro.
But if that was a pro set, is he
He'd
still?
be 3x7 off the
I
tackle.
got you. Okay.
What if he was a guy over there? Would he still be?
Yeah, 3x3 because there's no wide out. It's just understood.
No, what if he was a guy with a wide out? It doesn't matter whether he's, because that's what robber is back then.
So you got blue sky call.
It'd just be 3x7 still.
3x7.
Yeah, if it's blue sky, then this guy would be moved over here.
No, backside we were talking about.
3x7. Sky's cover 2.
Do you ever bring him in any tighter?
Oh yeah, the guy plays where he can, because again, I go back to, this guy's up here showing blitz.
Right, gotcha.
He's up
I'm with
showing,
you.
but he's never really kind of lined up.
Okay, so I got you on the toss. You
Okay.
can run that either side.
Yeah, so you can either do it either side. So you teach,
Okay.
you're teaching the guy to force angle. So you see if a young player, maybe the first time he does it, he's gonna do this. Okay? This guy gets too fast, now on the backside you're teaching him, because the first thing a young safety's gonna wanna do, if this table's the line of scrimmage, when he's the cutback guy, he's gonna wanna turn and go sideways, right?
Uh-huh.
And you wanna teach him to run sideways so he can rip across.
Okay.
That's why we teach him to read this guy's eyes
Okay.
when the ball goes away, because he's slow, and then he wants to be able to rip across. Doesn't ever want to be deeper than 5 yards. Because if that guy ever pushes him deeper than 5 yards, he can't defend the cutback anyway.
Okay. Did you have that guy cut back ever?
No, not in this.
Okay.
Could.
Yeah. Then you run toss the other way.
Can go run, toss the other way.
Now, if you run toss the other way, your free safety's still gonna stay where he is, right?
Banana, still reading on this guard.
The next day you run it, do you say, okay, we're reading right?
Can. Yeah, well, just, if I put it on the hash, they'll read to the field. If I put it in the middle, they'll always read left.
Okay. All right.
It's gonna be the strong safety and the free safety.
Yeah, huh?
It'll be the strong safety and free safety that you're calling
He'll go,
The read
this
side.
guy, what I usually do, once they get a rep and they rotate, they go to the opposite side, because all we're working on is force
it.
here.
Right.
Okay.
Now, the next thing I do is I'll fake the toss. I'll tell him to fake the toss.
One more thing here,
Okay.
I don't mean to belabor it. That back is running fast?
Yeah,
You guys thugging
I
him up?
try to make this be a force, no, this is a read drill.
Okay.
Right now, I'm trying to, first one I'm just teaching, I'm trying to teach
Inside
force
out
angles, banana, overlap.
Gotcha.
And I always put a boot drill with it. So now I'm gonna fake the toss,
Okay.
and now I'm gonna boot. So now I'm seeing if these guys actually reading their tight ends or not through them, because when I fake the toss, I tell this guy, I want you to go 10 across the field.
Oh,
This guy.
Okay.
So here he's gonna come dragging.
What do you mean 10 across the field?
10 yards deep. I want you to drag. I'm gonna tell this guy, block 1 count.
Does he
Run
drop
arrow.
the dummy when he does that, huh?
Yes. So blocks 1 count and he arrows, just like you did in the boot deal.
Okay.
So the free safety was reading left. So here I am. I'm just free safety. I'm reading left, playing 2. He fakes the toss. I take the shuffle just like I was going to run the toss. Okay? It boots. Okay? So where did my eyes go first? Because I was reading left. So I go where?
Left.
Go right there. So I have him look right at that guy. What did that guy do? He blocks and run an arrow route. So where do my eyes go now?
That's right.
Come back here and I rob. Because in robber coverage, if I get boot action different than drop back or play action straight back, I don't look to one. I look back to number 2 like we covered yesterday.
Okay, so
Like a
if
crow,
they
right?
fake the toss to the side you're reading, I see the toss, I check the tight end.
Well, I'm slow, yep, now, but I'm not checking this tight end
Well,
first.
let's say you're reading left,
Yep.
and they're
so-
faking the toss left.
Yep.
And now he's running the route right away, so I'm just fitting him.
Yeah. Now I rob because that's my deal is to take some. Now here's this.
I'm not robbing.
Well, that's part of robber technique for me is teaching him to come back here and rob away the backside
You
guy.
understand my question?
Yeah.
You're reading left, and they're faking the toss this way and
Yeah.
booting that way.
Then I just got my vertical
Okay,
read.
that's
Yes.
all I was asking.
Okay. Yes.
Okay.
That's correct.
All right.
Now you want to check and see if he's playing the drill. Put the quarterback, put the guy holding the bag, fake that toss,
Okay.
and run that guy vertical. And what'll happen, Youngfree said, because he's back here reading drill and this guy does this and he'll just wait for the guy coming across, you'll find out if his eyes were looking back here first.
Right.
This guy, because if he's looking back here first, he'll go take this guy and you don't have it.
Okay, so you were reading left and you faked the toss away.
Way, so he shuffled, I look back to my vertical win, I gotta go with it.
Right, okay, I got you.
But
So
Young,
instead of him coming right to me.
yeah, that's correct.
Okay.
Now, the second progression of this, you could run out, if you didn't want to run toss one day, let's say you're going, is now, okay, now you want to work for us, okay? So now you put the quarterback in, you put 2 guys, now you don't put bags with them, put a fullback with a bag. I work everything bags because, again, we work on being healthy, okay?
Okay.
So the guy's holding the bag. Again, we're in cover 2. Now, I may still run boot, but now I'm going to run the toss with it. So now I'm going to run the toss. I'm going to tell this guy to take a knee again. This guy, again, might have cut back. And now when they run the toss, now I'm going to see the angle, and I'm going to see him come meet the fullback. And this is what I tell our safeties on force.
Okay.
You are an offensive player. That fullback is taught to go to you just like you're taught to go tackle him wherever he's at. If you run up the field, he's going to block you up there. So you cut his angle down. So we teach him to come at the 45, make this guy squeeze down. We never want to be any deeper than 3 yards in the backfield when we collision the fullback. We want to be 3 yards
Okay.
on a toss sweep. That way, here's your alley player, here's your net player, and here's your end sitting on the inside of the tight end. So that's the way you'd end up in a ball game.
Mhm.
The biggest thing is what you got to understand and tell them. You got to tell them sometimes. Some people run the toss that they flatten it out and they get to the sideline.
Right.
So your job is to change the path. So not so much I come up and keep my outside arm free. I am going to come up and hit this guy in the mouth and then try to ricochet, try to keep outside arm free, but I want to close it down. Because sometimes you got 190 versus 250 that we have. If you try to come up and you do this, if you take any angle whatever, he sends you in the cheap seats. So you've got to be able to, what we call dot the I again, you've got to be able to hit him more square up, keeping the outside leverage of the arm. Again, if we'll make the path, even if the guy gets outside and we make the path bounce, I can run it down. But if I run anything up here, if I get up here 5 or 6 yards where this seam shows up, I haven't done my job. So that is the coaching point again, backside guys overlap.
Okay. Now, Gary, let me tell you what Jimmy Dickey taught me and tell me if any of it still fits. He used to say he doesn't want to trade 1-for-1 with that strong safety. So he'd say, like, take him up the field, fullback will come to block you, then you're ready to come underneath him.
Be an offensive
He'd
coach.
say, act like you're coming under to spill him, and then be ready to bounce outside like you were just talking about. Hey, John. All right, let's pause here a second, figure out what
Just get called in. What's John got to do?
I'm gonna make some copies of some stuff here for us. Jim, can you push pause on that thing here?
Well, as a base, if you stay in regular personnel, we stay in regular what we do.
In all those situations?
Yeah, except when you start getting big, we start getting big. When we play our offense, and they get into this, which we're going to get from next week when we get back and we get into heavy.
Well, hold on that 1 second. Let's just say they're regular personnel.
Okay.
And you got short yardage.
Short yardage, we're going to build calls just like we did there.
Okay.
Pinch
You know
call.
what they run, you're gonna,
Yeah.
it's coming out of your base stuff.
Yeah, dogs. A lot of times we're running our dogs package.
Bullets maybe, if,
Could be, if
how
it's
about
one
if you get a
back.
quarterback sneak or something like that?
That's probably the
Maybe a
biggest thing.
10.
We get 3rd and 1 stuff, and usually the only way you can stop it is unless you play a guy in the center. And we don't do that a lot, but if we did, we would do something where probably bullets, we use bullets to run through
Okay.
quite a bit.
You're getting a power team, a team that's running 2 back,
Power O stuff.
power O.
Again, it would be the same stuff, slide, stuff that we're going to play.
Okay.
Try to create things with slants maybe to try to free a guy up to get a tackle behind the line and stuff.
Okay.
Obviously, if a power call helps you, get down to a 5 and a 9 to get bigger
Mm-hmm.
and stuff.
Okay. Play out with blue.
Mm-hmm.
Just throw it out there too. Okay. Still staying in regular people,
Okay,
and you get down in the red zone.
okay.
Where's the red zone start for y'all?
Well, really, we don't play anything different until we get inside the 10.
Okay. So let's talk about inside the 10.
Okay? Now, most people don't give us this personnel right here.
Okay.
We don't get 21 personnel very often. We're probably going to get, if we get anything, we're going to get this.
Okay.
Again, this stuff, for me, on the corner side, if I want to protect him, I'm going to play a fiddle call, so I give a guy in a slant situation so he doesn't always have to play press. He can play bail. A lot of times we just play cover 2 because inside the 10, again, playing zone and not allowing, all our calls with the sky call back on the back side. If we want to get bigger inside, though, then obviously you're going to have to go to a 2-shell look. When we go to a 2-shell look, we have 2 ways to go to it, and we didn't talk about the man approach, but either you play blue, and we will use a press call on our corner,
So he's out of it.
because you got a meet call with the strong safety anyway, so basically you're playing zone concept, but you're playing basically
What's a
man.
me call again mean?
Me means he's got anything quick outside.
All right, that's our arrow rule, right?
Yeah.
Look like that's just red.
Pardon me?
I mean, that's very similar to our red.
So, if you want to get down into here. Now, one of the other things that we will do, if we don't want to play blue and we want to get really tight, is when we play option teams, we play what we call 0 pitch. Because every one of our man brackets, we want to be able to line, zones, we want to be able to line up like man and have the same option responsibilities, but play man on the outside. So what zero fiddle is like cover 2 as far as alignment.
Okay.
0 pitch is like blue. Okay, now, so even if I played a 5 and a 9, I would play a power. If I want to get the free safety way up tight, then I'd call 0 pitch, press, bail, or whatever we're going to play out here. So now double power, 0 pitch. So he's talking to the free safety side. Let's say you call tight G Tim, double power, so you're in 2s, 5s, and 9s.
Okay. Pitch means what?
Pitch means that I automatically have the pitch player. It's like blue coverage. We're not reading it. I'm the quarterback player because I'm in a power and I'm the pitch player.
Okay. What's that like for us?
Sure it is.
Well,
Zorro.
well, we close
One time?
Zorro. It was close to
Zorro,
Zorro.
except
he's
we
back.
bring,
Free safeties.
He ain't gonna be too far back. How far is he gonna be back?
Oh, down the goal line, he'll stand about 6. He's not standing very deep. 5 if he closer it gets.
still got a me call there.
Yes. From that alignment, they play it like fiddle, so that guy arrows, just like you said. Strong safety's jumping it.
What was this full call right here, Gary?
Tie G Tim, double power, 0 pitch, press, bail. We will also, inside the 5-yard line, play what we call 0 catch. We will move back to the goal line, and we will stand there on flat foot so that you take away the fade and the slant. You know, you're talking him out of the fade because he's not pressing, and you're playing the slant from alignment. Now, any assortment ways that you want to do all this, let's just say now it's not first down, you're in third down, and you still got to be able to play the run. Again, we're going to go back to something where we can help you. A lot of times, then we're going to go back to zone. But if I'm going to go back to zone, I may stay weak power. We may stay weak power, and then I may be in some. We'll get in something where we zero fiddle, and then I call a tough call to get these guys tighter instead of going out here and lining up in a cover 2 alignment in a fiddle.
3 by 7.
Yeah, I mean he might move right up on it. Now, if we don't like this, and we know we're going to go to a true man approach, we will call it whatever you want to call it, but we call it big. We bring in another. We take out a corner and we bring in another defensive lineman. That's the first one of the first ways. Now, we play 9s. Most of the time, we play 9s with this. And within this, we call this heavy or big, and we call it big wide. So meaning we're going to move to 4 eyes if we want to. Okay? So we're in doubles. Again, you go back to double smoke, and then we call double cop, not cop. You could actually play double cop, where you play both of them in a cop and bring us off the edge and play a free guy. But the way we play this is whichever way the fullback sits, that's where the banjo is. Between the safety and the free safety, we handle it. So that if this guy doesn't have man, especially in I-backs, they can come either direction. This guy's got to be a force player. So we read it.
So wait a minute, so you're an eye, that free safety, we don't know which side the banjo is going to be until the fullback goes that way?
Zero exchange is what we call with it, which means we're going to line up like a fiddle, and then we're going to exchange it by whichever way the fullback
So if
goes.
the fullback went to the right,
He's got the tight end. He's the first guy outside. I got tight end. So if you could conceivably, if you thought we were in this, you could run a corner out and you could run away from the guy if that's what we were in. Now, if we don't like that and we don't want this big and we still want to take a corner out, then we go to what we call our, because we had played against Fresno, we go to our bulldog group. And when we go to bulldog, basically we took, because our corners are not, again, big guys, and you can play power calls with this if you wanted to. We bring in, just like we do our nickel group, we're going to bring in an extra safety. So we're sitting back here with a weak safety. We're basically mirrored on both sides. So now I'm just as strong back here playing the run as I was over here with the kind of players.
so that's our solid, right?
Yes.
Okay. That's what we do most of the time there. And what coverage you playing with it? Same stuff?
Yeah. Now you go back to the zero pitch look.
We play like blue on both sides, okay, where we bring those 2 safeties and play those, play man.
Yeah.
Or we bring those
Double
2
smoke.
and we play zone. And kind of like, I like the idea of the fullback. We say if you get flow to you, it's a little different, I guess. If you get flow to you, the safety's going to take the first thing in the flat, and the linebacker's going to take the corner out. And the backside safety's going to take the tight end man-to-man, and the backside linebacker's going to look for the crosser.
Now, when you, let's just say that guy becomes a winger, comes in here, and we know it's not a wide receiver type, it's a H-back type. We go to heavy, and then we go to the 3 down lineman look. We'll play this 2 different ways. We'll either play the blue approach, which is not as good for inside running game, where we'll actually play like this, or we'll use our scoop or slide. And then we play with that, the coverage I just talked about in the case what we do at the edge. So here we're playing blue, first guy outside, vertical on both sides. If we call scoot with this, we call a zero.
Oh, did you take a corner out?
Yes, no corners left.
Okay.
We call it super.
Super.
Okay.
So now, wherever this H-back starts is where we're going to start. So we're going to call that always strength where the free safety is going to go. So they start him here, then we're going to scoot. So Sam, Mike, weak safety slide in the box, just like we do our slide call. Now when we do this, the way the rules are, we have a banjo. Outside safety and free safety, you have the H and the tight end. The two outside backers, which is the weak safety and the Sam, okay, have the fullback whichever way he goes. So if he steps this way, I got him. I am now looking at pass shows to help with the crossing routes. The Mike linebacker is always responsible for tailback, and that means he's also responsible for sprint out. Backside safety, with the setting away, he kind of stacks a little bit because he's got the backside tight end man.
What's your force? Let's just say they ran a regular old power week. Down block, kick out with a fullback.
Because we play nines, we play outside shade. As soon as they do it, he wrong shoulders.
Okay.
Then it's fit, just like outside guys got the outside, so it's just like option. Pitch, quarterback, outside force, fill. Because he's going to end up stepping around it. Most of the time, people won't run to where they have the lead back. Except our offense, and they've got to where they go, because they go loaded option. I mean, they got everybody in their mother blocking out here for quarterback. The guy that they don't like, that they can't account for, is this guy. And the way you block it, if you want to fan out, you end up with a 2-on-1 in the gap. Because of this guy. They do not like that guy. They don't like that. They don't like this defense. Our offense doesn't.
How about if that was a big guy?
Stack guy, 3.
You'll probably do the same thing I just told you we were going to do.
After field.
So I'm going to wait to see which way.
Whichever way the fullback goes, you're going to banjo?
Or we're going to go right back to that coverage. If it's too complicated, we're going to go back to this look. Move the safe linebacker back over. I'm going to make sure I don't get out leveraged when I'm trying to steal from Paul.
And what's your coverage there again?
Blue, if I call this, or zero pitch, one of the two.
Uh-huh.
Either gets us in that alignment and tells
Blue
us one.
Okay, blue, zero pitch.
That was just like when they were flanker set strong, the free and the strong were set like a blue. Yeah, Harold, he's got the guy vertical. But what it's telling you, he is going to be the pitch player no matter what to these sides. Again, everything in our offense we have to build in. We have to build in option responsibilities with every coverage we have because of what we see on a day-to-day basis. And it really kind of helps us because now in the season we never have to worry about anything we play because like we put cover 2 in, first thing is told is what their option responsibilities. We put blue in and what we put 5 in the system.
That helps a lot.
And if I ever move somewhere else, I'll do it the same way, whether I'm playing that kind of offense or not, because down the road, the way it's starting to come back, you're going to have to be able to do that stuff.
How about if you're getting like one back stuff now and you're inside the 10?
Okay.
Once again, if you don't know personnel, you're still okay making your calls, right?
Yeah.
They're only 8-yard line. It's 2nd down and 5, and they call a timeout, and they all go to the sideline. You don't know what they're coming back out with.
No, you'd be a little bit more based, but if I did 11 personnel people like this, one of the favorite things we like to do is we'll end up being like, we definitely like a fiddle call on the twin side. Because we especially get inside the 80. This guy's really close to the line of scrimmage. You've already seen him play the cutback and do things. So option responsibilities, you're already set up really well.
How much does he shallow up to?
Well, if it's on the 5, he's standing on the goal line. We don't ever,
That free safety?
we're in a fiddle,
Okay.
because he's outside, he's got the corner, you know, they're gonna double the corner out, but he's got the outside quick, because, you know, it's not like we line up inside.
So you got read and left.
So, let's just say, if you want a zone call, you can call 2 Bronco. And the other call I like versus 1 back is a special call. 2 Bronco specials, so that you're gonna handle
Okay, handling
trips. Because one of the things that happens in trips, what are you gonna get always? You're gonna
Something in the flat quick.
yeah, quick flat or corner routes. And this helps a lot with that. Now, they're trying to run it, they're trying to get another 3rd guy to the corner route, then a lot of times you come back and just play roll down there. It serves the same purpose as everything that you're trying to get done.
Because especially the corner's going to step up and take that guy man to man.
Man bracket. So it would be uncommon for me to call, if they were a 4 wide outset, for me to call special and also call solo.
2 Bronco special solo. Special's telling what you're doing on the trip side, solo's telling you what you're doing on the back side.
Yeah, now I'm double doing everything. Like because we're actually we got 2 guys vertical at number 3. So with a solo call, if you coached it up, what could the free safety do? Let's say you're on the 10. He could actually see what this guy's going to do. If he comes anything across the field, he knows the solo player is going to play him.
Okay.
Like we're playing on, and this is not in the 10, but let's say we're on the 17-yard line. We're playing San Diego State. They're doing this. Okay? We had special, we had solo. We didn't walk out because they didn't do anything with these guys. So we knew he could handle him one-on-one. Linebacker moves head up with the tight end. Stayed in solo, so they're man. He stayed here, so when this guy ran vertical, what happened was special is when this guy did this, we doubled it. The linebacker was still the wall on the short, when the solo player played over the top. That's overplaying trips about as much as you can possibly overplay trips. That's the stuff they like to get to, and they couldn't beat us backside here. They didn't. That guy don't catch balls, so we didn't worry about it.
Is that the normal solo adjustment when they motion out of backside empty?
Yeah, initially, because you can't get back to roll sometimes if they don't see it. So we save. So this guy, and what I'll teach him though, is I will teach him to play it like a 3D, to be able to handle this 3 vertical, handle the 3 vertical, and that way to be able to see this guy versus the linebacker. So.
Special again, is the corners out, is it mini too, Chuck?
Yeah.
Is it strong safety of Reed kind of play?
He's like a Gary says.
So they go vertical, we're both vertical. Anybody outside, he comes off. It's like you eliminate this guy, and he plays like a quarter's corner. He's playing like a corner in blue.
Yeah.
That's what he's playing like. Always playing, we're playing on the number 2 and number 3 guy instead of 1 and 2.
You can play it like 5 if you wanted to.
Could. Exactly. Again, he didn't shake his head, but he knows special covers came from Notre Dame playing Miami. Because Miami motioned out the backside, they didn't want to be in solo back here because the tight end and the running back ran too well, so they could stay in zone, and they had to have a way to play their combination rounds. Bump's the one that brought special with it. And I'm sure that was stole from somebody else too.
Okay, why don't you take us through? Why don't you take us through slide, if you would, Gary?
Okay.
Pretty good.
Right, no, I guess, what, by personnel, is that how you do it? You like to do it by personnel?
Yeah. We do it to 3 personnel groups mainly. We do it to 20, 21, 20, 21, and 11.
And you use your other word, it sounds.
Scoot for.
So we might as well hit that pretty good too. Scoots versus 12.
Yeah, and scoot could be versus 11 if we just want the linebackers to move right now without anybody telling them to. Meaning we're going to scoot over to the tight end side no matter what. Like a 4-3 look. You know, way Miami would line up their linebackers in a 4-3. They wouldn't move over to be. So you're basically, remove the split inside B-gap player.
Slide me to your
The way this all came about, we start with 21 personnel. The way you have to line up in a 4-2, if you're us, we've always been, so you're A-gap, Conscious, and Mike. Slide pertains to anything that's an overshifted tight end formation. I-backs is an overshifted tight end formation. Okay? Doesn't matter if we're in tight, split, field, or boundary at all. It's where's the tight end at?
Well, I just want to stop you 1 second there, Gary. Here's the difference between our league and your league and who we play. We saw 21 personnel this year, almost 400 times out of 900 snaps. You guys didn't see it near that, did you?
No, but I can tell you this much. Texas Tech did in the Big 12, and they got less than 100 snaps the last 3 years they were there. They were getting 250 to 300 snaps of two-back, and you can watch Nebraska. Nebraska would not line up in pro set against Texas Tech.
I think we see it for a couple of reasons. One is because they don't want our offense to have the ball,
Yep.
so they're going to try to.
And that would be a good reason.
Okay, I didn't mean to interrupt you, sorry.
because we're little. Everybody thinks,
Little too, yeah.
everybody thinks they can smash us.
And we're in some extent because people don't think we even have big ends at 240.
Okay, I'm sorry.
But the reason for the coverage, so we're overshifted. So let's just say we'll work out a tight always. We won't work out a split or anything else just for the concept because it doesn't matter what the front is. So the call is tight G slide, or you can call tight slide. It doesn't matter. And you can call any slant that you want to with what you're doing. Okay. If they give you an overshifted set, we're going to give some kind of shell look to the reach side because I'm not going to overplay the set with my secondary and also slide my front. So it's either going to be 2, 3, 0 fiddle, or 0 free. Am I going to play on the read side? I'm talking about on the call side. Any of these zone sets I've got to play flip with. I think, not necessarily do you have to do that. So let's say we're going to call 2 blue flip with slide. Now, I am going to give a call on the backside to tell the corner, if we slide, what coverage we're playing. So I'm either going to give him a sky call, a solo call, and a Bronco call. One of those. Now I can actually, for mine, the way we get in, because we've been playing it now for 3 years, I can actually give him a Bronco solo call, because we never want to play solo to I-backs. Because the linebacker got man and have the ISO at him. So I-backs, we'd always, if I combine 2 blue flip, Bronco solo, I'm telling them if we do slide, okay, I'm going to play Bronco. We'll never play solo. If they come out split backs, then we can play solo. So they come up here, they line up, they're doing it. Free, the weak safety, because he's the guy away from the tight end, says slide. If they're I-backs, I will be in a 50 alignment linebacker. I have no gap responsibility because it's covered up. I'm a free player. The Mike will move to a 0 alignment. A shade of 1-10 alignment on the center. And the weak safety will now come down, because it's 2 backs, he will come down and he will line up on the outside foot at the end, 4 yards deep. Now the key for me, is for him to do, is to never leave this corner on an island at any point. So the general rule is, if I call slide sky, meaning we're going to play cover 2 back here, I would prefer him to line up like a sky alignment. And then at the last moment, after he already said slide, move in, so he didn't leave the corner thinking they could just line up through the hitch. If I called Bronco, which we know we're going to play it from a press, then I would rather say slide and line up in a shell alignment. In the last moment, move up to a slide alignment. On the read side, you're just playing what you're playing, so we're playing 2 read and left.
Solo, you said, don't like it against the IOs, the linebackers have the backs. You got split backs, who's got who?
If it was, we wouldn't slide. Wayside linebacker has the back man, the corner has a man, and then whatever you want to tell the weak safety.
Whatever you wanna do.
Hole, free,
Right,
deep,
Right.
double. You might tell him you're in solo and we want you to double that guy,
Yeah.
which we've done.
Or if the backs were set strong, you play solo too.
You could, because now there's not a threat of run at him, so you could actually slide and play solo to this. Because now you don't have a run threat right at this guy. That's not as big a problem either.
Linebackers are taking the backs and so on.
If he comes to the man side,
Yeah. If they come
goes
to
his
the
own
middle.
side, then it's,
So far set, you wouldn't wanna play solo either. Oh,
Yeah.
over here.
right.
Yeah.
No, but we wouldn't be sliding that either, because now it's not an overshifted set, and we'd probably be playing a sky call back here at Bronco. Because now you got a linebacker, because solo, if now you wouldn't slide, the linebacker's back, again, it's like, kind of like in dogs. Why do we give the linebackers the tailback in dogs, the one's not coming? Because you can't play this guy out and play action right at him. So we're better off being in some coverage that lets somebody else either be in zone or in sky, the safety's outside already, or Bronco, we're saying the safety's going to take number 2 outside first.
So you're only sliding versus I or
Any overshifted tight end set,
Which includes that.
High, near.
which is
strong.
I, and it could be this. That is overshifted tight end set.
Now you play solo, right? No problem.
Yeah, now you can play solo because there's only
Right.
one back.
Right.
But again, if I was teaching it, now here's the first common mistake young safeties make when you're putting this in. When you tell them slide sky, guess where they think? They think sky. All of a sudden slide's going. They might say slide and get this guy to move over, but guess where their ass line's
3 by
going?
7.
Yeah, and what you got to understand is, slide became your alignment. What you'd have to do is you're telling the corner what kind of coverage. You're just playing it from a tighter alignment. When I say sky, and you're lined up in here, okay, it's like the 3D 4-3 scheme. Yeah, you're right here, and it pass shows your ass as the flat player. But you got to just do it in here from them instead of out there.
Yeah.
Now,
And
Twins.
On the sky one, once again, what you'd like to do is for him to start out wide
yeah,
and then come in at the left.
yeah, because that's correct.
Yeah, just to.
Well,
He's
just
an
because it's
off.
a natural progression.
He's an off.
Huh?
If the corner's an off, you
Yeah.
want him to start wide and slide back.
Well,
in.
when you take
He's
sky, at some point the corner's going to get backed off because
Right.
sky means what coverage?
a half too.
No, cover 2. So he's going to be in a 7-by-1 situation.
Right. But if he's impressed, then you want that weak side safety. in the
Exactly.
half.
And a half.
And a half, like, then he comes down and plays Bronco.
Again, we're getting the fronts by coverage instead of the front being called, leaving flexibility so you don't have to be, they go line up and then you fit around it.
Yeah.
Now, it came out in twins, so you had the what called flip. So once we flip, we're in flip coverage. Okay, we're just going to say we're playing blue out here. Now, where's the overshifted set?
But Gary, let me understand something about flip first. Maybe these guys already do, I don't. It's only if they come out in twins, it's not if they motion to it?
By game plan, we'll run over with it if they motion to it as a general rule.
Okay. So back in pro, if that guy motioned across, you.
Corner come over and we play flip.
He motions back when you're going back to 2.
Yep, going back to where you were. Now the thing you got to understand with slide is, whatever those wide receivers do, doesn't make a hill of beans. Because this I-backs is still an overshifted set to the tight end side. So if they're giving you a lot of motion, then my advice is to call zero fiddle with slide and play it, or zero free and play man with it. And that way you're not having to worry about any of it. But then you're not really liking it because well, I don't like this because who's playing man on the backs? Linebacker, so you got man coverage and you're playing run.
That was our base.
Some people do that. Oh, I understand that. But for me, comparably, it's easier for those guys to do that if they're not having to think that they're going to have to be running with somebody. Now, strong safety always goes to strength of passing formation. Okay, so he's the guy lined up, but he's the guy away from the overshifted, so now the strong safety is the guy staying slide. Now, what I want him to do is say slide. But I want him to stay out here as long as he can, just like a sky alignment, to where he lines up here out here on number 2 where he normally is, and then get in here, okay, to play. Now, normal check with a flip call, because you, just like always, if you were blitzing, bullets, and they come up in this set, what would I have told the free and the weak to do? Banjo. Well, now that we're in a zone concept, basically a banjo is a check sky. They could say check banjo too if that's what you wanted them to do. So they check sky to any overshifted set, just like if this guy was over here and you're playing cover 2.
Yeah. Yeah.
So now you're in zone, so this guy didn't have to worry about playing this guy man. He made a fourth player. We're just an outside inside. Now, we played flip and they didn't give us an overshifted. We didn't slide. I will still play inside with flip coverage because I call it for run purposes. That's why we use flip. It's a run, it gets us in better run alignments. Okay? Now, I don't need a sky call anymore either with flip. So now we're all just playing flip coverage, which means he's in man, which he's going to say watch the linebacker, solo. So just like if this was the free in our regular coverage, this is the weak safety and this is the corner, it's the same process. We still got to tell that guy solo on the remaining back to make him understand that we're in that back there. Now you'll see from our offense, well, without going in that yet, that's us. That's slide.
Go 0 fiddle will slide.
Okay? Now we're just playing man.
Yeah.
Now we'd be playing fiddle on this guy. Now, in our suggestion, as you brought up today, I didn't even think about it. With slide, what we've done is I've started calling 0 free with it. Some. Because sometimes we try to run corner away, so what I did is start playing some 0 free, so when we get slide, he plays outside leverage. And he becomes the free player, and we just leave it, and we live with this here. Playing man on the tight end, and if he blocks it on the fourth player.
Fiddle would put him in a banjo.
Yeah, but instead of a banjo, it puts him in 2-on-1. Because really in 0, he has the back and backfield by 0 rules.
What's the back? Safety's got nothing.
2-on-1 and that way, but he'll end up helping him if they did like this because
Yeah.
play action, if this guy does get fooled, then I'm on the outside anyway.
Strong safety. What's he?
Strong safety's got, well, he doesn't have anything. He's a free player right now underneath because I never teach him to go deep. In our system, that guy is more of a linebacker type. Now, just like you guys would do it, and we'll get into this a minute later, our man-free coverage also that we do with formation stuff like this is tiger. Okay? If I want to, just like Kansas State and emulating Kansas State stuff, if I want to get the strong safety to a tight end side, I would call tiger, and we use the word red. That's our signal for red. 2 hands, 1 hand 0, 2 hands is red. Tiger red told the strong safety to go right now, tight inside. And now you get both these guys over here. If I want to play 0 free with it, these guys would have a banjo or could get a fiddle, and then I've got a free safety back here that can play 0 free anytime I want it. Now he never has ever said slide though.
Yeah, you got no slide there.
As much. But again, you don't need it as much as what you just did, and just like you guys did, I could call tiger and I could call power and call red, and I could get this guy down and strong safety plays here, and this guy's up. There's a free player, and that's what isn't that split Bronco? If I call split,
Except we got a slide call from that weak safety.
We got a slide call from the weak
yeah,
safety.
so you're like this.
Yeah.
The slide player is now the safety playing on that side instead of the linebacker. I get the same way. Again, it comes back to apples and oranges.
What's the red for? That's a cover?
Red,
That's a strong safety that always
Oh,
goes
tiger.
to the end.
yeah, tiger red. Well, I just tie it together. But I would play red with Tiger. It's just another way. For us,
Red is against,
Here.
run against the
here,
weather motion.
here, let me show you. Here you go. If you gave me one back and they lined up here, see the strong safety would go over here.
Yes,
Weak safety would be back here.
right.
So what red tells us is we're going to take a normal zone alignment from the weak and the free, but the strong safety is going to the tight end side no matter what. So we call zero free and put him over here, and he's got man, strong. The free safety would still line up to his normal zone alignment. He'd be man, weak safety's free. Now I would bet with that's exactly Kansas State stuff. That's exactly Texas Tech stuff. Now, Texas Tech, the problem with this, with Texas Tech, they came and brought our dogs package, but this is the one formation. They can always come from the tight end side, but they can't come from over here. Not with the safety, without moving people over. So what we had to work out with them is to find a way to run the dogs from a 4-3 deal, where basically like you teach this guy like he's an outside linebacker, like you're Sam, Mike, and Will, and you become a 4-3 approach here and do this. Which now that's bullets. Again, going back to the thought process of this being bullets. So that's what we're going to get into the spring. We're going to get into the spring of calling Tiger, so I get my strong safety always the tight end side because he's the worst coverage player. And now, but I get him in the box against 11 personnel, and now I can start running dogs. But I'll call it bullet dogs or whatever the word we end up coming up with to get this over here, because who are they always looking for in us to do? They're always looking for the safety to come off the edge. Now we're not going to give them the safety off the edge anymore. We're going to get them more of the 4-3 concept.
Why? Safety. What hurts you about the safety out there?
Nothing, they side adjust him more. I mean, that's where they're throwing 3-step off of. You'll hardly see anybody when we're bringing bullets ever 3-step. So when that safety starts walking down, they get scared shitless of. Anyway, going back to slide.
So Tiger meant that Sam came over.
Yeah.
Or a strong safety came over.
Go to tight end.
Red meant
Red told them we're playing man free.
just, so you don't call zero.
See, I don't call anything to the front. The front's called tight G.
Right.
The only people that hear see Tiger are the safeties.
Red is for the applies to the strong safety. Tiger applies to strong safety. Red is a substitute for
Zero.
For zero.
Yeah, because there's times when we wouldn't look like a zone concept if you called zero with all that.
We have to come up with a different coverage because people are in different places. Right?
Correct, that's correct.
That would be the easiest way to do it. Kept my man free stuff right.
You kept your man free. See, you could, within that, getting to it, if you wanted to run dogs, if you kept your man free stuff, so you could call dogs and then you're bringing your strong safety and your linebacker off the tight end side, you're still getting, and we do it too. If I want the strong safety to over blitz, and it's easier to do it off the tight end side because of the way he lines up. Tight end side, you call dogs, it's a Sam and the strong safety and the linebacker. If you want dogs from the split end side, then you're going to find a way for your linebackers to both run it from the split end side.
Because you can't bring your free safety down.
We just don't.
Was Dean Campbell, is he the one that put all this in?
Him and John Goodman,
John Goodman?
they're good.
Yeah, I know he's a superb secondary coach. He's coaching running back somewhere now.
Yeah, the slots. He's just glad to have a job.
Where at?
Air Force,
Do they got let go of
their whole staff. Everybody thought maybe they would keep the defensive side because they played so well through the years, and they didn't.
That's because Spike retired, is that why? They just run a new guy in and let everybody go? So it happened?
Well, yeah, when they fired Spike, when he retired, and that whole thing, he was going to be one way or the other, wasn't it?
Really?
It's going to be one way or the other. See, what they did is they had a committee. They found a committee, non-related Texas Tech people that found the people, and then the Board of Regents interviewed them.
and hired the staff too that way?
Hired the head coach and the defensive coordinator that way.
Leach. You know,
Leach did not know McMacken until they met at the first staff meeting they were both at.
And who told him he had? They just said, "Hey, we're going to hire your defense coordinator."
They had some search committee, some legal firm or whatever it is,
a
that
lot
went out
of
and
people
found
doing
it.
it that way, huh? I've heard of people doing that.
Now, I will tell you that, there's a lot of places it'll work, but West Texas is not one of them.
No,
I don't know if you've been out there, but that's a different breed of cat now.
I have, I can imagine.
I mean, that's like going to the hills of Pennsylvania.
West Virginia.
Yeah, West Virginia.
yeah.
I mean, you just don't go, when I lived in Tennessee, don't go up the wrong dirt road.
You get shot.
Yeah, shit, yeah, I did. I've been shot at. I was shot at by, one time, one of my players took me dang four-wheeling up in the hills in Tennessee, and she would come over and guys that they're sacrificing a lamb, you know, with this, you know, circle and all kinds of stuff. I'm in the wrong state.
Wow.
I'm in the wrong state.
You got a good feel for that slide stuff? Willie, do you?
Why do you like
Yeah,
to do that?
slide is
Huh?
the
Why
easiest
do
way
you
for us
like
to
to
do
do
that.
that?
Because it's
Is
a
it?
big time
Yeah.
overplay to the tight end side.
For tight end
Call
run
it
You
game?
know, for us, this
zero
year-
fiddle, I mean, zero combo, whatever we're gonna call it.
Tight end run game, you liking it?
I used to about the Tiger stuff.
You were asking about slide tiger, right? Red,
No, just
no?
Just slide.
Is
It'll
Tiger
slide
the-
with Tiger.
Tiger the easy, yeah, they don't slide to that.
For you guys, for what you guys have done, Tiger's the best, because you always have you have your Sam over the tight end side.
Yeah, but we don't get the slide with it.
No. Correct. But you put all the people over there kind of like that anyway. You just didn't move your linebackers, and you put your Sam and your weak safety over that side automatically by that formation that we looked at. Now, just for instance, on one back,
Does anybody want a sandwich?
yeah, I'm ready now.
Willie?
No, I'm fine, Chuck.
Jim? Kyle?
I have what you're having. You know what that is, 9?
There's
Yeah, nine.
John too.
Hmm?
There's John. Go ahead, keep going
I'll
here.
take, I'm getting one, Chuck, 'cause by
Well-
the time 5 roll around here, I'll be hungry.
What do you
Yeah.
want, Will?
We've
What
talked,
you had there,
we've
what
talked
you-
about slide.
Gargantuan.
We've talked about slide
Nine.
with
Number 9.
11 personnel. You don't need slide to a spread look, twins on one side, pro on the other.
Right.
You don't need slide to a trips look, 3 wideouts because it's not an overshift. You can always keep a force player. This is the only formation versus a 4-2 or anything where they got, as long as they've got a tight end blocker, where they can create a leverage on the edge. Okay, so when 11 personnel comes in the game, if they are trying to do this to us, okay, I will put a slide call to the safeties, not to the linebackers. Linebackers will not hear the call. They'll just hear tight G or whatever we got up front. So I say slide to the safeties.
Yeah.
And then I go 2 blue, whatever we want to play, solo, sky, special. I mean, anything you'd make in his normal coverage call, okay? So if they come up in a normal set, balance, we're playing 2 blue. If they come up trips, you're going to be playing 2 blue solo. But if they come up in this set, okay, they come up in this set, the weak safety is going to say slide, because it's an overshifted tight end set. So they're going to slide, and now he's going to say whatever I told him. If I told him solo at the end of the call, then we're going to play solo, which means he's going to vertical number 3.
Right.
If I said sky, then he'll stay back, and if they show pass, then he'll be a flat drop, and we play sky. And we also play what we call a vice call, which we also do in 2-back. Where actually what it tells him is we're going to look like sky on the snap the ball pass shoes. I'm going to run underneath number 1. Basically, it's a double from a run alignment. When I do that, I will play special over here because I got to be able to handle, or roll, I got to be able to handle number 3 vertical. So the key to this, though, is that weak safety will never get any closer than about 8 yards. All he is the V-gap cut back, and he is the pitch player, force player to that side.
Put a blast on that at all?
Could. Taiji blast. You just don't know if you're going to get a slide call or not.
Oh, that's right.
Now against our offense, now what we do, what we're going to start doing, we're not going to do against us because we've got so many young ends. But when we get in the season, one of the things we're going to do is when we get slide, that Sam's going to say slide to the end. And tell him instead of him playing EM to play 7, he can move just to an outside leverage 9 technique. And that's good versus our offense, especially in this, versus loaded option. Because now you got 2 guys who can get outside the tight end. But you know, we used to get forever unless you run a smoke, get outside zone or zone, you know, G and T. Now we don't get any of it anymore. Hardly.
The weak safety doesn't get closer than 8.
No, because all he has to do is play the B-gap cutback.
That big gap cut could hit the fast on the belly, couldn't it?
Oh, if you G'd it or something over here? Yeah. If they were doing something like that, but now you're probably going to get, next time, you're probably going to get a sky call or a vice call from me. Where I'm going to get him up there where he can be now in a, you know, off the end's foot at 4 yards. When I say solos, when I say he gets no closer than 8, on a sky or a vice call, that's when he's now able to move up into more of a leverage position.
If you're the sky or vice and you got slide, will you move in there like a normal slide?
Yeah, he'll be on the outside, sky or vice, he'll move up here 4 yards,
4
play
yards.
right there on the end of the,
Outside foot?
yep.
I don't know, I mean, I can't around. John, what do you want, column number 9? Anyone? Willie?
No.
What kind of?
Sounds like I like a 9.
9 is like a Philadelphia Italian.
Super.
Like hot peppers on
Kansas,
it?
yeah, that's fine. I'm a
Anybody else
Kansas
want hot
boy.
peppers? Kyle?
Hey, no hot peppers for me. Listen.
They're not, I mean, they're banana peppers.
Okay, the banana pepper, the hot peppers. Is it sky or is it a solo?
Look, I don't, excuse me, Tate.
They're bananas.
Damn, I don't know.
They ain't hot, Coach.
I don't know if it's sky, if the sky's up or down. As I'll be calling this field, G.
I'm too stupid to coach this
blue,
defense.
solo.
Huh?
I'm too stupid to coach this defense.
I don't know, listening to you, I think you guys actually do more stuff than we do.
We do a lot of stuff.
Linebackers have to do a lot more. I can tell you that.
The thing, once again, the thing I would just say is that it keeps me from hyperventilating is that obviously this spring, particularly early, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, we need to be looking at any of the fronts. We'll call it bench just simply because that's what we've called it before instead of boundary. Because boundary's too many syllables. Split and tight. We can run the whole gamut of.
Tight was the big play.
What else I want?
Field.
Field. We'll run the wide concept, okay? We'll run the dogs, the bullets, the smokes, okay? And we'll run 2 blue.
You want this on tape?
Huh? Okay, I'm just talking out loud. 2 blue.
5.
You never called 2 blue 5. Our base call.
He thought he was
Thought you
he
were
thought he
missing
was
the
he
coverage
just
of
listened
the
to
2
coverage.
blue solo. I don't know if we even get into special. What you're saying, Kyle, is we could run 2-5, right? 2-5 solo, whatever. What else would we need? We need 0.
Are they going to get an empty?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
You're probably going to want to find some way to not always have to play roll on the trip side if they're going to get in empty.
Okay.
That's the only reason for special. That's why special came about, is because you could never check solo unless you're going to have a nickel guy in there.
So
Because we never check solo to a double width. When
once
that-
again, back here, then we're playing whatever we want, right? And over here, we're playing.
You gotta go deep with, roll.
Now,
He's saying you want a different way to do it.
You gotta play
That's
special.
special, right?
Yeah, that's
Like,
correct.
He's out of it. Okay. We could play this like 5, blue. Okay, except that's a strong safety again for us. Whenever you do that, obviously, you have something in here so they're not running quarterback draw.
Oh, yeah, all the time.
But, I mean, you didn't know they were coming out in any.
Eagles.
Sometimes they're going to do it to us, we have an empty check, just like I'm sure you guys.
And that's an
do.
automatic twist in there?
Yeah, a lot of times, you know, not just twist, ours is,
We gotta get nickel too.
this bumps thing is this.
You know?
Well, that's the other thing, you get nickel, but
I know.
hog is what, is, we haven't talked about 3-man. That was always his favorite for empty check. Because it's
Good
different.
against quarterback draw?
Yeah, because you're coming, you cross the face with both guys, and that's the boundary over here.
So if that center turned back on that cross his face.
Most time with quarterback draw, and I don't know if you're wrong, but most time it's a man approach.
Probably no sense even messing with slide, and we're not gonna see any two back, right?
No, but we'll see one day.
Trips.
Slides, particularly if they want 12. We gotta have, what do you got, scoot? You have
Yeah,
one-
scoot, part of that deal.
Slide. That's probably more than we can handle. The whole thing is, where do we sit with 50 defense? Are we better creating our things out of this?
Well,
Or-
you can see how much we can get.
Yeah.
I like being able to pull the 50 out of the back pocket, because it changes your protection schemes and everything. It creates havoc.
So we throw 50 in there. I think that's kind of what, this is kind of what we have, it's what we put in our installation, do we not?
So,
We had 3 on there.
Great.
3, yeah.
Do you need 3, Gary? I mean, we got it in there. First day we got, in your vernacular, first day we got, going in coverage-wise, we got 2, roll, 3, 0, and sky. Second day we got the wide, wide going in. We've got 5, flip, I still don't understand flip, I'm sorry. 0, with like fiddle, and then we got solo and bronco.
Yeah, and you wouldn't have to teach fiddle the first day, I mean on the field.
Would have to? I got, taught second day.
I'm saying on the side, I mean, you could leave all the man coverages out of it, as far as the brackets and stuff, if you want to be good at. Because we don't play any man on our offense until the 4th day. We teach it on the board, but we don't play it on the field. Because
I
second
noticed
place-
in your practices, you don't, in your team stuff, you don't run any bullets. In those first couple practices I watched, but you put it in your first day.
Yeah, we teach just like we teach in 2-a-days. We don't allow to blitz early unless we blitz versus cans, we had our own period of that, but we don't.
You get a couple days knowing what you're doing before you do
So that's the reason why they can never handle us in the blitz, because their ass never works on it, and we always do it.
The third day we got going in your vernacular again, we got blue and blue press. Now, blue press to me is kind of like a special call, just in the sense that corner's now out of it, and it's like I'm playing on the backside of a tight end.
Yeah, really, blue press should only come in a goal line type situation.
Okay, so we don't need that because we have red then. Or maybe we get rid of red and call it green press or something. Might as well call it red just to remind them they're in the red zone. All right. And then, you don't ever run anything like kick. We do something where we do like instead of a, what am I looking for, solo?
Instead of
Solo or deep check, we kick.
We kick,
Roll.
Instead of a rocket.
front
which
side
is-
corner rolls hard, free safety rolls over the top, backside weak safety now rolls
That's
in the
5
middle.
solo.
That's 5
Oh,
solo.
yeah.
No, our guy's rolling over to a third, he's not playing a half.
Yeah, but basically that's what it ends up being, because he don't have to worry about number 3.
Right.
Okay.
That's
You
from the
gotta squat
Cowboys.
out there.
Huh?
But you gotta squat out there.
Yeah, the corner's hard and free safety's always.
I got smokes going in and dogs, and then the stunts too, you know. And then we put our 50 stuff in. Put our 50 stuff in. So is that about what we got up there?
I'd say that's plenty.
For us to get started, right?
I'd say I wouldn't mess with much more than that.
And you're suggesting we don't do the man stuff maybe even for a little bit further down
Till
the
I
road?
get practice 4 or 5, unless you
When
just.
you say man, you're talking about 0, you're
Just
not
0,
talking
but-
about the solo stuff.
Yeah, I'm just talking about 0.
That's
Huh?
the way I see it, The way I see it, there's not much more than that. They're just coming up with the ways.
Combinations.
The ways to fit it.
That's my whole point. That's why we say multiplicity but simplicity. We look like we're doing a hell of a lot. We don't do a lot.
Well, once again,
You're just able to spell it out.
once again, if, to keep me from hyperventilating, it's like when we came up, once we learned the Roger Louis concept,
Yeah,
now we could say Roger Loop, you know,
sure.
53 Roger Loop.
G, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. All right, so let me order these sandwiches.
Gary, when you go
I
to your
didn't mean
slide,
to, I didn't mean to cause you to hyperventilate on a weekend. Shit.
Gary, how much, John, when you go to your slide package,
Yep.
What should I order for him? What can I order for that guy?
Get them a 9. Get them a-
What's he order? Does anybody remember what he eats normally?
There he is right there, Coach.
John! What do you want for lunch?
I just wanted that something.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
How much it cost you? Well, I mean, I'll reimburse you, so. Huh?
when you go to slide,
Had to eat it.
I know, but I was gonna buy your lunch.
Your
I was
shade
all over-
linebackers
running
and
all
a
over this
skill
place
player.
looking for you. Did you
How
go to
often?
Jimmy John's?
do they screw that up a lot because they're used to hard joints
Give
so
them a
much?
sandwich, let them take it home.
TRs
You
do.
want me to order your sandwich, you eat it later?
Now you have to work on it though.
Yeah.
What kind of
I mean,
sandwich do you normally eat? The turkey one?
Young guys do, older guys don't.
Yeah.
Guy or solo to tell if they do go over to something, how we're gonna play the backside. So it's either gonna be sky or solo,
2 blue flip.
sky or 2 blue flip solo.
Okay, that's the most generic one you got.
Yep.
Don't you put Sky and Solo together?
Can in a 2-back situation. I-backs we play sky, anything else we play solo.
This is versus 12.
Yeah, 12.
Okay. No scoot on the front of that.
Right now, the tight ends are,
No, I'm
no,
talking
yeah.
about.
He, up here, it's, no, yeah, I go scoot, and then I go 2 blue, flip, solo. Same way that I do slide. I'm gonna tell them we're gonna move. Slide, 2 blue, flip, sky.
Okay. Any kind of front with it.
Yes,
Okay. Any kind of stunt with it.
as long as it doesn't affect the linebacker, as long as the linebacker's not running through.
If they don't run through it.
We even scoot double smoke. Because we're gonna come off the edges, and so they're in ace, so we got double smoke coming, and then they shift the tight end and start moving over with scoot, scoot, scoot.
Okay, so take me through the whole thing with 12 there.
Right now, again, read and left play 2, blue on the backside. We're not scoot, so the call is tight D scoot up front. We're not scooted because they're not on the tight ends are balanced.
So you're not playing sky on the back, you're playing blue.
Yep, because it's a balanced set.
Okay? All right, let me just ask the questions as we go. The right wide out motions across to the left.
Just playing your normal thing, we're gonna go to solo. We're widening out, weak safety says solo, the corner comes down to regular way you play
I
formation.
didn't have
White
solo
flip
on this
on
call,
that.
I had 2 blue flip sky.
Then we check roll.
Okay, you
Oh,
can check.
flip, you won't.
Oh, and with, I'm sorry, with flip, because this, just like flip rules, we're just gonna say right now, he always goes over.
Okay,
So it's coming over.
so he comes over. What's happening over there now?
Playing flip. Back here, we're in a solo. Flip means we're in solo.
Okay. And what's flip mean on the front side? What's it mean?
They're
on the
playing blue, he's swing deep at 3, and he's vertical at 3.
Okay, I'm with you. All right. Corner comes over. Okay.
So now, this is, and since you put me in this, now this is a great thing for, now to use scoot and why you went flip. Because now you got it over,
Wait a minute, oh,
Okay.
so we scooted here, we're scooting here, right?
yeah, but we're not scooted yet, because scoot has to do with the tight ends.
You
Scoot
got an
means-
you got an overshifted tight end set here, though.
No, we don't. The tight ends are not on the same side.
Okay, but before,
Yeah, but before.
That's slide.
That's not slide.
Slide is a two-back deal.
And 11.
Scoot is when tight ends are gonna create a two-back principles with tight ends on the same side.
okay, good, I'm glad that happened.
Yeah, so you called slide against 11, got trips, and you.
Yeah, there's one tight end in the ballgame.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Scoot's different.
Scoots, okay.
That's why I go back to, we'll only use scoot.
12.
You said 11, too.
Yeah, and we'll use it, but
Slide.
when I'm gonna call to the front, now this is where both are being told,
Yeah.
okay? In 11, and if I would ever call scoot to 11 personnel, to the linebackers,
Okay.
no matter what the formation 11 was,
Oh, you said they do it automatically.
they'd come over and look like a 4-3 team would. They'd look like that, okay? And we can do that, but
But
generally,
You're still in good shape here. If they run the front side zone to that free safety's the guy's gotta make the tackle, right?
well, see here, for this guy again is gonna line up inside.
They keep them inside. Remember he said flip is a run leverage?
You can't get to the strong safety.
Okay. And you use it, that's why.
Our offense, hey, this is where we play our offense on a daily basis right here, when they're in this stuff.
That's why I'm asking.
Yeah.
I'd like to get this where this is something we could really spend some time with.
Now, okay, so the tight ends are balanced, so we're just playing base. We're in tight G. Okay, the call is tight G scoot. The tight ends are balanced. We're playing tight G and we're playing flip.
Okay?
Okay?
So
Now-
they came out like that, that's exactly how we line up.
Correct.
The motion's back.
Corner's going back over. Going back to blue. 2 reading left.
All right, and if the ball was on the left hash, and they put those 2 wideouts in, we're gonna flip. Now you come back over, we'd be going reading right though, right?
Just depends on what you want. Most of the time when you're going to do this, we have 2 rules. One, sometimes we will never flip in the boundary. But if you were doing that to me, and they were going to do it the first time they come back, this guy would probably check back to sky. So you'd end up in 2 across the board when the guy came across. Because he's going to protect his vertical, and we would have been, well, no, we'd been in flip, he'd already been up here. Yes, he would be 2 reading right, if this was in the boundary. You're asking me things that never happened before.
You've never seen people put trips
Well,
in
they
the
put it in the
boundary?
boundary, but never where they ever really get very much with us, and this is in whack-wise. Again, one of the things you gotta remember with us, you put your 2 wide receivers in the boundary and we're gonna run dogs, you don't have any hots. You know what I'm saying? For us, with our blitz package, you start putting people in the boundary, you lose all the credibility of being able to get away from the blitz package. So they can't, most people, we don't have to deal with a whole lot of it. Again, you know, I told you, we get a lot narrower game plan than what a lot of people do. But anyway, I'm sorry, go ahead. What were we gonna ask?
Okay. Now, we go, the rest is just the tight end tap stuff, which you already did out of base, balance, right? I got no problem there.
And see what the nice part of wide flip is important to use versus this, is so when you tap, now it comes here, your corners are already used over, now it's over shifted, so it becomes a scoot call, sky call. Just like if you were on the backside of twins,
But I'm scooting in, but I'm still playing,
curl.
you know.
Now see, it's harder to do that, you can leave it there. If you don't play flip with it, it's harder to do that without getting the corner over.
And do you play, can you play scoot with, do you play with 0 at all?
Can, but here's the thing, 0 told you, unless you're gonna pass him off, told the guy to run over, you're really doing scoop, but you're just running the guy that has a man over to the other side and playing a man.
That's what we've done.
And that's a good, we do that as a change-up also, that's a good way to do it. Where the linebackers stay the same, he comes over, now he's saying banjo too. He's saying banjo too.
Start me out in just regular old 12 personnel and take me through with that. So what would you call it, just with 0?
0 free or 0 fiddle press.
So the whole call would be, let's say I said tight G, do I say tight G scoot, 0?
Yes. And that's what that's going into your front.
Okay.
Now see, again, you're going back to, secondary's not looking at me, so, and I'm not, the front's not looking at me, secondary's looking at me, and the opposite. So Mark goes tight G scoot the linebackers. They're not even told coverage in the call. Safety's job to tell the linebackers to call. So they got tight G scoot, I go 0 free press. Excuse me, scoot 0 free press.
Scoot went with the front call too? Tight G
Yes.
scoot? So you told Mark, tight G scoot, he's signaling that in, and you said scoot, 0 free press. Okay?
And if I wanted him to slant or do anything else with the front, then it'd be tight G Army scoot. You know, I'm just gonna tell him, he has to look at the wristband and see, well, Army's number 4.
But if he thinks he's independent of you running the front, you gotta say, I'm thinking of going scoot, so he'll hold
Call
off.
something, or call something with scoot,
Okay.
12 personnel. So he's either gonna leave it base, or he's gonna call twist, or he's gonna call slants.
All right, I'm with you. All right, so here we go. We got 0 free.
Safety's got tight ends, backers are looking out the back, right?
Fiddle.
What do you do with the other back? Okay, let's say the back flares right, so that backer takes him.
That just depends on game plan. Sometimes we'll blitz him, sometimes he'll look for walls, just depends on, sometimes a good quarterback, we leave him, so the guy
For the
can't
draw or
run.
something,
Yeah,
yeah.
when he can't run.
Tight end, wideouts cross, corners go with them, no problems.
Yeah.
Right? No banjos though.
Yep.
Yellow? Yeah. I'll be there. Thanks. 10 minutes, somebody remind me. Oh, he said downstairs. What the fuck's that mean? I told him to go up the fucking ramp.
Probably that's the only where he can get, it's the only place he can go,
Where?
unless the gate's open down
He can only go, he can only go up to that.
Hope that's what he does.
Yes,